Ready? College football is now B1G versus SEC. Down! Put!
If you ain't listening to All Right Bet with me and Andy St. Clair, you're throwing away money.
Ready?
All Lions fans drinking that Kool-Aid. Super Bowl. Hey, disagree with me or don't. That's how it works. That's right. We're back with another episode. It's DWMOD's Big 6 Picks this week. Andy, are you ready, my friend?
I'm ready. My garage is getting done, so I'm here in my daughter's room, and I'm feeling good about. I think this might be the lucky room.
Yeah,
So,
get some inspiration, get some picks going.
Yeah, that's the good thing. You just try different rooms to get hot, and this week, till everything gets fixed, I think next week I'm gonna just try the daughter's room.
Yeah, hey, whatever works, man. You got to move it around. Don't change your socks. Use the daughter's room. Whatever's working to get some money in your pocket on the Big 6 Picks, buddy.
That's right.
I love it. Well, hey, this week we got a great guest, friend of the show. He's been on before. You're familiar with him. Now, this guy, deep into the hip hop scene in the late 80s and 90s in New York, with early days of Bad Boy Records. He's there for the start of the whole thing. He's in there with these guys. Friend of mine, classmate of mine, proud to be a classmate of this guy. We got on the fire department together back in the day in Detroit. Listen, without any further ado, you guys are familiar. Welcome back to the show, Grant Lancaster.
Yo.
Hey, what's going on, Grant?
What up, though? How y'all feeling?
Good, man. You been all right?
Man, I'm doing the best I can, brother. How about you?
That's all you can do. That's all you can do, man.
Yes, sir. What's up, Andy?
What's up, man? How are you?
Man, scratching and surviving, brother.
That's all. Yeah.
Just keep trying to climb out of it. That's all we can do. Keep trying to climb up and then they pull us right back down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, listen, let's bear with me on a quick recap here, because now a lot of our listeners, they know who you are. They're familiar with us.
Yes, sir.
But like last year was about Brandon. This year's been about expanding. We got a lot more listeners now, and they're like, wait, don't go too fast. Who is this guy, right? So let's bring him up to speed a little bit. Now, I was just telling everybody, like, we'll get to the bad boy stuff. Everybody's very interested in that. Very hot topic in the news right now. We'll get to that.
I didn't know. It is? Huh.
Oh, yeah. Some things have happened, Andy. Some things have happened. Some slippery things have happened.
Yeah.
So now let's just take it back to the beginning really quick for everybody. Now, I'm talking your high school days, your neighborhood days back in New York. Now, Brentwood, the hip hop scene is exploding there, and you're on the ground floor working with a lot of guys. Walk us through really quick, like how much. It's always fascinating to me how much talent was in that crew in that area at that time, man.
Oh yeah. So the Wood. I went to the Wood in '84, right? So I got kicked out of high school in Detroit. That's a whole other story.
Sure.
But I end up on Long Island with my pops. So I'm in Brentwood. One of the first people that I meet is actually Craig Mack. So me and Craig, we hanging tough and, just kind of hanging around with the guys. I mean, I started going to school. Well, I run into Biz. Biz is like in the cafeteria.
That's
beatboxing.
crazy.
He's out of school already, but I know his brother Shell, right? So Biz went to my high school. Disco Richie from Divine Sounds. One of his brothers went to my high school, and Disco Richie went to the high school too. And Eric and Parrish, EPMD, went to my high school as well.
Oh.
Not to mention DJ Diamond J, DJ 4-5, DJ Teddy Lee.
Trendsetters.
A lot of cats in my high school, right? CI, Central Islip, is a town like a block over.
Okay.
And in Central Islip, you had JVC Force, B Love and them. You had K Solo, TJ Swan lived over there. Yeah. I mean, and in that little pocket, and so on one side is Central Islip, on one side of Brentwood is Central Islip, on the other side is Deer Park. So in Deer Park, you got De La Soul, right? You got I think Fife was over there too. Busta spent some time over there. Wine Dance is like the next town over. So Rakim is there,
the whole place is exploding.
The
whole place is exploding as hip hop is exploding.
Yeah, it's bananas. And I just happened to, get dropped in the middle of this thing as it's formulating. You know what I mean? Like the the tornado is just starting to pick up that whirlwind, and I get dropped in the middle of this thing. And like I said, I run into Mac, I run into Shell, Biz, Eric, and Parrish, and it's been great, man. Like Brentwood adopted me, right?
That's great.
I mean, and coming from Detroit, it was just a totally different dynamic. My first day of high school, it was crazy. I'm in there with Chris Levi's silk shirts, patent leather Nikes. These cats looking at me like I'm some fucking alien.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, man, where are you from?"
They shell toes, lead 12 leads, the Latigra shirts. It was bonkers, man.
That's crazy. I can't imagine walking into high school, your first day of high school, you walk into the cafeteria and then there's Biz Markie B-boxing. But at the time, right. I mean, on the street, he's got some cred and he's starting to get going around that time. But really, nobody really at the time. And then that's crazy.
And I have no clue. I have no clue who he is. Right. I mean, and then they, we get introduced or whatever. Biz, rest in peace. Biz was my guy.
Right. Yeah. You're probably like, who's this heavy kid beatboxing?
Right. Yeah. And he wasn't in school though. That's the thing. Right. Like he was just up there.
Who's this heavy adult at the school cafeteria?
Yeah.
No better music made than at lunchtime over at Brentwood. I mean,
no, man. It was awesome, man. We had so many cats, man. Like everybody was in the culture. Everybody was MCing, beatboxing, DJing. I mean, it was just so many cats, man. That I mean, still a lot of them, man, and a lot of them out of that little pocket, man. And
right.
Oh yeah,
Brentwood specifically, out of that little pocket, man. There was so much talent in there. And a lot of that talent actually made it out on a nationwide level. So,
for sure,
yeah,
guys like Eric and Parrish, who you're still cool with when they roll through, they hit you up. Like that's crazy to me, man.
Yeah, they're gonna be here in a few weeks. Matter of fact, I got a text from like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Yo, we're gonna be there in December. Say the date, blah blah blah." So yeah.
I know every time they come through, you shoot me a text, man, because I'm a big fan, and I'm always like, "Man, I wish I was in Detroit. I could catch you guys, man." Oh man, but yeah, just a ton of talent rolling through there. So you hook up early with Craig. You guys are kind of tight, and you guys keep that relationship going. Now, just to bring everybody up to speed again, now you go off to Howard for college. Now,
correct,
right? So you're at Howard, same time Sean Combs is at Howard.
Yeah. So I go in '87. I want to say Puff is like a year, maybe two ahead of me. So he had already been down there. He was already kind of throwing parties and all that kind of stuff. Just being Puff. It was a Puff has always been Puff, right? He's always been shiny. He's always been like flamboyant. He and I were never really. We were never tight. He's just not my kind of guy. You know what I mean? Because he is shiny like that. He got to be flamboyant. He got to be out in the spotlight. That's just not really my thing.
Yeah,
so I didn't really deal with him like that. I mean, we knew who each other were because we were both like I'm MCing at the time. Derek Angeletti. We all kind of kicked it in the same kind of clique, but I didn't really like vibe with them cats because my dudes was doing something different than what they were doing, even though we were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So so I had a lot of history with them. So just to kind of fast forward the story. When Craig calls me, because I'm still in DC, Craig calls me and he's like, "Yo, let's go around the world and make this money." So I'm like, "All right, let's do it." So I get up to, I go, it's Thanksgiving of like '94, and I go up to New York.
Flavor in your ears, just popping right now.
Just starting to pop off.
Yeah, it's like
94. So I go up to New York for like Thanksgiving weekend. And he calls me up there, so I go up there and. We run up in the Bad Boy. Like one of the first things we do is go to Bad Boy, and Puff sees me, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm
already
like,
side-eyeing. I know this guy.
Yeah. I'm like, this is my man right here. We grew up, blah blah blah. And Craig was like, "Yeah, he's about to be my new road manager," and that, the rest is history. So we
now
just
for some of the younger folks, you know, the people that are like our age and maybe a little younger, they know who Craig Mack is, but there may be some other listeners right now, they may not be familiar with him. Now, here's the shot right here for those folks. Now, this is the like the drop of the Bad Boy label, guys. Like this is the start of it. That's Craig on the left. You know, Notorious Big on the right. The first two guys signed to the label, and this was the Big Mac drop party where they released the first LP, CD, tape, you know, from Bad Boy, and one side had 6 tracks from Craig Mack, and the other side has 7 tracks from Biggie Smalls, Notorious Big, and that was the start of Bad Boy Records. And Flavor in Your Ear was the first platinum single from Bad Boy. That went platinum before anything Big did. Like that was huge. Yeah. So just so they could be up to speed. If you didn't know that, go check it out and get yourself educated on that. Right. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to.
No, you good. You good. So like I said, it was you know, we just kind of did the thing, and you know, we went around the world and, you know, met a lot of people and did a lot of things, had a lot of fun, man. It's you know, the fire, I say it all the time, the fire department is the greatest job I've ever had, aside from working for myself. Working for Craig and that whole Bad Boy thing, that was not work. You know what I mean? That was my, like, when Craig and I were rapping as in high school, you know, we had talked about making records and all that stuff, and, you know, just kind of being famous and all that, and what would that look like? And then, you know, we seeing Biz do it, you know, then we see Eric and Parrish do it, you know, we see Junior do it, we seeing all these cats do it, and we like, man, we could do this shit too. And he stuck with it. I went to college and he stuck with it. Yeah. And, you know, when he blew, he, you know, to his credit, man, it's my man to the grave. To his credit, man, when he finally popped off, one of the first things he did was give me a call, you know, and was like, yo, let's get it. It's what we've been talking about forever.
Man, it's rare nowadays, man. That is rare nowadays that anybody has any kind of loyalty or, you know, stay true to their crew. It's very rare. It's very rare nowadays. People get big and they just move on, man. They get very, you know, they get in their bubble and defensive and whatever it is. But it's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Mikey and I are fighting right now. One of us, whoever gets big, the other's gone. That's we've made that promise to each other.
Yeah, we're just gonna text each other every day and just shit on the other guy.
That's like a text. Lose this number.
That's the 2024 way, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Who is this? New phone, man. New phone. Who's this, man? I don't know. Andy, who? I don't know what's going on there. But I have another
Andy
picture.
Right. Is this Andy Dufresne? What?
Shawshank.
I got one more picture I want to show everybody.
Arms up. What's that?
Arms up in the rain. Yep. Coming out of 300 yards of human foul smelling. The whole thing, man. You got to climb through it. But also to put a few things in perspective, I got a shot here. This is probably going to, well, it might not catch you off guard. You've seen it, but like, this is the era here. This is the era. Look at that box, man. Look at that box, dude. This is it, man. This is lunchtime. Biz is somewhere in the background. Boxing like that. Now, I got to ask you about that box. How many tapes did that box eat?
It didn't. It didn't eat tapes until like way later in the game. Like it had been dropped so many times and blah blah blah. And it started eating up tapes at a time. But like it was. Listen, that was one of the best purchases I ever made, bro. Like I had to work for that radio. I used to do construction with my pops on the weekends. I would get like $50 a day. That radio, you know, that radio in 87, that radio was like $400.
Oh, crazy.
Which was a phenomenal amount of money at the time.
For sure.
Yeah. And then, and at least in the first 3 months, you doubled that cost on D batteries.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
12 of them in there, probably.
Yeah. It was because it was everywhere with me.
Yeah.
It went everywhere with me.
Man, you know that we had to live with that problem. You guys don't know, but that was a problem we had to live with, man. Everybody's box to eat the tapes, man. And the batteries, the big for you kids that don't know, man, look up a D battery on Google, man. It looks like you can run a car on it, man.
Right. That's huge. No, we don't just we didn't charge things back then.
Right. There was no fast charger or
you couldn't just plug that radio in anywhere either, man. But that was it, man. continue to box around. You did your music and things like that. So you wind up, you're over, early days, Bad Boy. You're over there. So we got to ask you, man. It's hot in the news right now. We got to talk a little Puff. And now I'm glad you kept saying Puff because I was going to suggest we only refer to him as Puff or Puffy. Well, none of this Diddy. None of this Diddy. It seems more appropriate now.
Yeah, he was
to be
never
calling
Diddy.
him Puff.
He was never Diddy. He was Sean or Puff, one of the two.
Yeah, always, man. Now you said he was always kind of flashy and out there and flamboyant and things like that. But like how early on, probably a little bit of time passes between when you've seen him at Howard and then you walk into Bad Boy, right? Like
probably 2 or 3 years.
Right. Right.
Yeah, 2-3 years.
When is he at the start of Bad Boy there when you catch back up with him than he was at Howard? I mean, was it leaps and bounds like, oh, who is this fucking guy now?
Yeah, so we kind of saw the progression, because I mean, even though he wasn't my guy, he was still somebody that I knew was successful, right?
Sure.
So we saw him, in the Dougie Fresh. First time I saw him on TV, he was in the Dougie Fresh video dancing. I can't remember the name of the Dougie Fresh record, but he was dancing in the video. And we was like, oh shit, Puff is in the video. So he's dancing or whatever. And then, over time, you start seeing more and more of Puff doing these dances in these videos. And all of a sudden he gets this Bad Boy deal, right? I mean, he would always come back to Howard. So, we would see him from time to time. But, when he gets Bad Boy, it was, well, he started out at Uptown.
Yeah, right.
So the whole
lot of
Mary
bad
J,
blood there with that move into Bad Boy, right? Yeah. Go ahead.
So
hit
the
on
whole
that.
Mary J and all of that, he discovered a lot of people over there. Him and Andre Harrell had their disagreement or whatever, and Puff latched on to Clive Davis, and Clive Davis gave him the money to start Bad Boy, So when he did it, it was just like, all right, more power to him, get that money, kid. This is just fulfilling the dream. So we all wish him well, and he finally does it, man. And he does it, to his credit, man. Puff is a marketing genius in my mind. He
was.
Yeah, he worked hard to get what he got. Now, the way that it's going down now, I mean, the industry eats talent.
For sure.
It always has and likely always will. So, whatever the things that he's being accused of, I don't know if he actually did them or not. I always just kind of thought Puff was gay. That was just
a lot of people
what I
coming
chalked it
forward
up
with
to.
that.
Yeah, that was just what I always chalked it up to. Because like I said, I mean, you're just a little too shiny, my man. Just not really. Me and my boys, we move a certain way. You move a little bit differently than we move. I see women around you, but I don't see them. I don't see you like really cracking on them like that. And I mean, you at the Mecca. You at Howard University, cream of the crop.
Yeah.
To me, if you that guy, you supposed to be at least be, have a little dime or something on your side. But it was just never any of that.
That was a time too when it was like if that was an issue or not an issue, but if that was the thing, you needed to keep that quiet.
Kept it hidden. You kept it hidden. So and it was all good. So, I mean, there was some instances. A good friend of mine had a situation with Puff and another guy, like kind of inviting him to a hotel, and it was just kind of wild to him. He reminded me of that story not too long ago.
Right.
And, it was just kind of wild to him. But, I mean, we don't think anything about it. Like, nah, man, I'm not going to no fucking hotel with y'all. And it bounce. Right.
Yeah.
So
it was just something you knew, like at the end of the night, you go your way. And,
right. And I'll go mine.
Looking for trouble could go the other way.
Right. Right. So now.
Did you guys hear about that? There was that great Reginald Vell Johnson rumor off the podcast. The dad from Family Matters.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I watched that clip. Yeah. There's a clips out there. You got to watch it.
Oh man, maybe I don't want to.
So this is what I think, man. I don't think that I'm going to glean anything more from the situation by watching a video or not. In most cases.
Yeah, you were close to it. So.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna learn anything or nothing. Like it's not gonna surprise me. You know,
Right.
I've seen these people do some things, you know, that could have been questionable. But I mean, but then again, at the time, maybe those things weren't so questionable. I mean, we looking at,
Different
you know,
time.
you're looking at some 1980, 87, you know, 90, 95 things, but you're looking at them through
the lens of
2024.
2024. Correct.
Yeah. So you know, is it questionable? Okay. It was question. Maybe it was questionable then, but now it's like taboo,
Right.
right?
Right.
So, you know, it's to me, it's just hard to pass judgment. You know, I say the same thing about language. You know, like certain words people don't want you to say, but my language has been formulated by my 54 years on the planet,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
So just because you in 2024 decide that you don't like a word or a phrase or whatever, I can't just remove it from my lexicon like that. You know, just because you want me to. You know, it's not anything that I'm not attempting to offend anybody. You know, I'm just
Right.
talking here. You know,
Right.
so
Right. We can only
I
just
get
keep
it.
trying to evolve, and when somebody says
Right.
something to us, you can be like, "Oh, okay, hey, I didn't know. I apologize. I didn't mean
Right.
it like that. Whatever." That's all you can
Yeah.
do, man. That's
Yes,
all
sir.
you can do. And to put it into perspective, like the stuff that we're talking about, you know, like you said, late 80s, early 90s, different time, different lens, you're looking through those things, you know what I mean? And then I have to imagine that as time progresses and he keeps getting bigger and bigger and the label keeps getting bigger and bigger, and then he becomes the juggernaut. He supersedes the popularity of the label and becomes this mega star, that those things that were like questionable in that time frame, like any star, they just evolve. Like we've heard everybody
Right.
talk about something. Like we heard Eddie Murphy when he got busted for picking up the transvestite hookers and stuff,
Right.
you know, and
Right.
he just started talking very frankly. Like, man, you get to a point where like everything becomes boring because you've done everything. You know what I mean? So as he evolves into the millennium and the 2010s and these crazy parties we're hearing about now, it's only like that's the progression of that crazy shit, right?
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, but here's the reality though. On the fire department, I've been to a fucking crazy ass party.
Oh, careful now.
Right?
Careful now.
You see what I'm saying? But I'm just saying as a civilian, right? As just a regular dude, not a star, not a puff by any means.
For
you know,
sure.
But I'm saying not even a Craig Mack. You know, not even just a known local guy, just as a dude that works a 9 to 5.
Yes.
I've been in this
Yes. I ran with some dudes right over at 57s,
Right.
man, where you'd just be out back before lunch and you'd hear stories from the weekend and you'd be like, that was a for real thing you were at and participating in? It could be crazy. It's crazy.
Listen,
crazy.
If it was not, if we had the great thing is that the years that I was at Freaknik, there were no cell phones, no camera phones, no rings, no, you know what I mean? Like all of that kind of stuff. So, and that's always my thing. Like this stuff has always been there. But it's just as more and more people begin to learn that it's out there, they want, you know, more people want a taste of it. Some people are just naturally drawn to it. Some people want a taste of it just to see, okay, let me see if I like this. And maybe they do. And then they go off the deep end with it. You know,
off like the deep end.
Because addiction is addiction, right? Right. And that's the thing. If it's gambling, if it's drugs, if it's sex, if whatever the addiction is, it all kind of has the same pattern, right? Like you start out doing it a little bit.
Yeah, and then more and more and more.
Yeah, you get more and more and more. And you know, you get, so just imagine you got a vice. And all of a sudden, now you go from having $100 to $100,000, and then to $100 million.
And to further your point, when you get to $100 million with that vice, and you've got nobody around you, because unlike Craig reaching back to you, and then he can have somebody next to him that he trusts that's going to speak up. Puffy is, and I'm not defending Puffy, I'm just saying,
right?
He's at a place with this $100 million now where nobody's telling him no, and then they're encouraging it. Right. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh my God, could you imagine having crazy ass vices like that, all the money in the world, and just surrounded by everybody going, yeah, man, more, do more. That's crazy. It's crazy.
And just because I know the story, right? So just knowing how Craig signed his record deal, right? For every there's 100,000 Craigs out there that would sign a deal at a dinner table.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if it's 100,000 of y'all that would sign that deal at the dinner table, what separates you to get you to that dinner table? Right? What did you do to actually get to the dinner table?
Yeah, sometimes.
You know what I mean? And that's when you start talking about the Cassies and the young Miamis and all these people in between. Yeah, I mean, and this is not. Please don't get it bent. I'm not trying to defend anybody. I'm not trying to shame anybody or blame anybody or anything. I'm just saying that there's a certain amount of people that will do whatever they have to do to get what they want.
For sure. And Grant, I don't think it's wrong. I think it's wrong for everybody to sit down and have the conversation just from the perspective of shit they've seen online. I think it's more real to sit down and have the conversation from this place. Like you said, nobody's defending anybody, but we're setting the appropriate scene as to, okay, let's first understand what and why things are happening.
Right.
And then we can put some judgment on it. Everybody's just throwing judgment without being in the understanding zone. Now, listen, when it gets to the point they got young girls and they're drugging them and all these accusations like that, that's the point we're talking about. We're like, this has gone off the rails from consulting adults to this is some shit you should be in jail for. You know what I mean? No doubt about it. Like that's ridiculously crazy. And what's with the baby oil? What can you put some light on that? Nobody knows.
Slide some oil to me, baby.
A million bottles or whatever. What was it? 100,000 bottles or some shit?
Look, he was keeping Johnson & Johnson in business. Clearly,
it sure was.
Maybe he got stock in
it. Did he have stock in it?
I don't know.
Well, probably. That's probably how he took his dividend checks and pallets full of oil, man. You know what I mean? I heard somewhere, it was obviously bullshit, but somewhere somebody said, well, they had all that because they had it laced with like roofie, with like RBG or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, so then when they would apply the oil, the people would get doped up and they could do whatever they want. And I said, now we're trying to give people an out for videos we've seen they participated in willingly.
Right.
I mean, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? It's just, you know what I mean? It's crazy though. The things that you hear about, crazy. He's got the Bill Cosby baby oil going on over there. They're trying to say now. It's out of hand. We don't know what could be true or what isn't true, but we have to, being on the fire department, you know this. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Smoke, there's fire, my man.
Count on it.
So let's get into a little bit more of the record stuff just for a second, because you know, with a guy like that, like you're explaining, like just an appetite for more, an appetite, whether addiction, not addiction, you know, just the appetite to keep growing, keep getting bigger, what was that like around the label with, I'll just say, like, you know, a power hungry tyrant at the helm? Like, how scared was everybody at any moment to get whacked?
So, you know, I think in the beginning, there was just work ethic, you know.
Okay.
Puff is he's been a hard worker. You know what I mean? I can't hold him up from the things that I've seen. Puff works hard, man, and he put his nose to the grindstone and he did everything that he had to do. And with his success, you know, people watch you. You know, everybody want to be down once you on, right? Like when you're trying to build this thing up, it's hard to get people to buy in. But once you get on, so once he gets this money from Clive Davis to actually start the label, now people are looking at him like, hey, you were talking about you were going to do this. Now I can help you with this, that, and the third, right? So there, in my mind, yes, I need your help. Yes. However, there's going to be some questionable finances probably, right? Because I put this thing together by myself, right? Yeah. I cut the wheat, I gathered the eggs, I made the bread. Now everybody want to eat. Okay, well, you can start with these crumbs, right? So I say that only to say I don't think that there was any sort of like fear in the beginning, right? I think that kind of showed us colors probably and I was already gone. But in my mind, that probably would have happened after Biggie
blows
you
up.
know,
Probably right
where
around Mace time.
Right. When
The family LP.
when Biggie passes away, excuse me, I think there's a whole new thing that begins to happen with Puff. You know, him and Big were tight from what I know. And for Big to pass away, I mean, and he was the biggest artist that you had at the time. You know, for him to pass away the way that he did, you know, I'm sure it had to take a toll on him, and that probably, you know, triggered something, and just made it where everything became much more evil, let's say.
I'm sure.
Right. It just gave it a little, you know, just tweaked it a little bit toward the evil side of the game, to where, okay, now people are starting to look at you like, hey man, like why are you tripping? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing putting your hands on me, son? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
like that Mike Tyson video. Yeah, that's a weird one, right?
Right.
And it probably starts out with little things, you know what I mean? Like a push here, a touch here, you know, it starts out with little things, and then as time goes on, you know, and you know how it is, you give somebody an inch, they take a mile. So yeah, you let somebody put their hands on you one time, you let somebody push you one time, then all of a sudden they chin checking you. And now you like, why are you chin checking me? Well, I'm chin checking you because I've been pushing you and kicking you anyway. Right? So what difference does it make?
Yeah, you just start getting, it's all of it combined, man. You put it in good perspective. All of it combined, the loss, you know, like you got all these, I don't know, for lack of a better term, demons with what's going on, addictions in vast areas and things that you're having going on at these parties. You're dealing with that. It's getting bigger and bigger. Now you lose not only probably one of your best friends at the time, you lose him tragically, and then at the same time you're losing your cash cow, you're losing your biggest artist. Like all that starts to build. And what happens to people when things like that? You dive into your addiction deeper.
That's
what people do, man. And that's just, you see, that's why I'm glad to have you on the show, Grant, because this is what I've always appreciated about you. Why I've always kind of gravitated to being tight with you, is because you're a genuine dude and an honest dude. You know what I mean? Like, you've already laid out that, like, you guys knew each other, you worked together, but you already laid out that, like, but we didn't really get along. We weren't the type of dude, like, we weren't, you know, we didn't click like that. So you've already laid out the fact that, like, you know, not a big fan of them, but worked with them. And at the same time, laying out the fact that I appreciate the hell out of his work ethic. He did it all. He earned it himself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you're giving him his props, and also speaking about the situation honestly, when you could just be burning the dude. And anyway, that's kudos to you.
I appreciate that, man.
About you, man.
I appreciate it.
And so he loses Biggie. The whole thing starts going down the drain, off the rails at that time for sure. And I don't know, from that point forward, it probably, like you said, where things really start getting crazy.
Yeah, things start getting crazy, you know, and you know, you don't really know, you know, how people deal with certain things. You know, you had the thing in the club with Jennifer Lopez, you know, and she just kind of skated off, you know, she never, you know, that was the end of their situation. And then, you know, I mean, it was just thing after thing that had you like, wow, what is he doing?
It's going off the rails.
Right. And this is just me looking at it from the outside. Like, man, what is this cat doing? Like, why you keep ending up in these situations, dude? Like, because you don't have to end up in these situations. Right. No. Like, you have enough money that you can remove yourself from certain things if you choose to. I mean, now anything can happen, but you don't have to be there while it's going down.
But you got to be surrounded by good people for that. And he just wasn't.
Exactly.
You know? He just wasn't. It's very much seemed like he got to the point where a lot of these people do, where you push those people away because you don't want to hear it, and you start inviting in the parasites, and then you're surrounded by the parasites.
Yep.
And it's over, man. And then you get to a point where before you know it, you got underage girls and you're doping them and traveling them around, and then you look around the room and you're like, I got children in here doped up, and people are doing unruly things. You know what I mean? And then you're in a situation where, like, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
I'm going to jail, man. Let me sell the mansion. You know,
I don't know.
it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, how can you can't put up 50 million for bail? Like, no, you're not going to take this 50 million. You're not going to take 50 million.
Now, and that's where like we can speculate, and we could spend another 30 minutes on. They got something, and his thing was always having. And maybe you could speak to this. His thing, they say, was always making sure he had dirt on all kinds of people. Like he would tape those parties and things like that. So there's a lot of information they probably confiscated that they got a lot of people under the microscope on, I would imagine.
So I've heard about tapes and stuff. I've heard about tapes and stuff from people who attended the parties as well, not just from the person that was throwing the parties. Right. So I've heard that there's been tapes circulating around for years and years and years, and people use them for whatever they use them for.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to get into holding you to no names or nothing like that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say
I don't know.
Yeah. I will say this though: the people you've talked to, firsthand accounts that have been at some of those parties and the things that they saw. Let's just put it on a level of like 1 to 10. What are stories like 10 and you were like, hey, I don't want to hear no more.
Yeah. That's it. It's like I said, man, I'm not gonna get any more information with the video. Now I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, you're not gonna tell you anything you didn't hear firsthand. So there it is. Right.
This shit is real. The extent of how illegal some of it was, maybe we don't know, but this shit is real.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
it's going down in the town. There's gonna be there's a lot of names, man, and that's, I think, possibly his life is at stake because
Epstein.
Yeah, you got to protect the brand, right? And because entertainment, just period, all the way around, not just, I mean, and we talk about Puff, we associate Puff with hip hop. But Puff is just he's an entertainer.
Yeah.
All platforms. Yeah. Right. So the thing like with TD Jake's name being mentioned and Reginald Vell Johnson and we know about Bieber and all of these cats that
Jay-Z and Beyonce brought into
that
it.
Puff had his hands on, and and then you have the what's the kid, Orlando Brown? And Jaguar Wright that are throwing accusations out there, and now I mean, and it just becomes a domino effect to where people just people that maybe were holding back, and they see somebody else speaking out, and then they're like, well, I saw this, just from a different vantage point.
Right.
Yeah.
Bieber, he's out there with it, man. He's saying it like that. His latest bunch of music, he's flat out being like, hey, these are things that happen and have made me question my life. And then you look at his trajectory too. And you look at where he starts going off the rails and getting nutty. And you're like, you got the world by the balls. Why is this kid crazy? Well, now we know. Now we know. It's crazy.
And I mean, you haven't heard about Britney Spears, but Britney Spears kind of had the same trajectory. Crazy. She went up to the top, and then all of a sudden she was nuts.
Yep.
And and she's still dealing with it.
There you have it. First, there you have it.
They said Mariah Carey was kind of the same. I mean, there's a lot of similarity between a lot of these artists. And when this thing is all said and done, you may see some change to the entertainment industry. Just kind of all the way around.
Yeah, like the movie industry has changed. The music industry is going to have to change. It's being exposed, and it'll change. And just like the movie industry, it'll change for 2 or 3 years, and then be back to what it's doing.
Yeah,
so that's how it'll go.
I'm grateful that I was able to dip a toe in, and then skate off without
Probably the best way to do it. To do it. Well, here's what I'm glad about. I'm glad we did get the exclusive on DWMOD. Nobody else had this information until today when we interviewed Grant Lancaster. Britney Spears involved with the Puffy parties, and that's what happened. And that's what happened. You heard it here first, man. You heard it here first. I'm just telling you right now. All right, man. Well, hey, on that note, we got to hit the sponsors real quick. One of my favorite drinks, it had to be one of your favorite drinks in New York in the 80s, but this is our tailgate beverage made with the official beer choice of the DWMOD podcast, Old English 800. Every Sunday, we're rocking these, Grant.
Brass monkey, that funky monkey, brass monkey chunky.
Right? How big was Brass Monkey in the 80s in New York?
Oh, my God. It was everything. It was everything, and it was everywhere.
everywhere, man. I'm telling you, delicious beverage. Get yourself some Old English 800 this weekend. Get a splash of orange juice. Get started early in the morning and just get rocking, man. All right, guys, let's jump into some quick hits here. We could talk about this all day. I mean, we could keep going on this. Maybe we'll dive back later in the season and dig into it a little more, but we got to get to some quick hits here, guys. Let's do it. All right, guys, I'm going to ask you to weigh in really quickly here on Deshaun Watson. Man, Grant, this guy, I'm going to give the opinion that this guy's toast. It's over. His career is done. There's no comeback or redemption here. He's done.
Yeah, I'm of the same mindset. I actually just talked about this with my old dude. You missed 2 years of football, man. It's no coming back from that.
No, he's toast.
That's just a wrap.
He's done. At some point they're gonna have to play Jameis, but I will say, this is the week for him against the Bengals, right? This is, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but it's 6.5. You got him at home. Chubb's coming back. Everybody's doubting him. They lost their best. They traded their best receiver. Pretty weak defense. If there's 1 week he may switch. This is the week. If not,
I hope you're saying Stefanski, and by swoop you mean to Jameis Winston, because this is the week for that. You're right. But I think you're talking about Watson.
Deshaun is running into sacks, man. Deshaun is running into sacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can't get sacked 5-6 times a game, man. Like
0-36 on his last 36 third down attempts, guys. Hasn't converted a third down in 36 straight tries.
No, I know.
Crackers.
And then here's a little graphic for you. Here, check this one out here. He has settled more lawsuits than he's thrown touchdown passes, guys. He has settled and soon to settle 2 more lawsuits and hadn't thrown a touchdown in 3 weeks. So that number is getting more and more despaired.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
It's pretty crazy.
Wow, that's crazy.
If you think about Deshaun, he was like Stroud is like young. Stroud is kind of like young Deshaun, and like in a way to me. And it's crazy that Deshaun has just absolutely vanished. Like that Deshaun is just gone.
He's gone.
Yeah.
He's gone.
This is a game of repetition, man. And for you to miss 2 years, man, like I get it. We all want Deshaun Watson to be the old Deshaun Watson, but he's shown over these last year and a half or so, he'll never get back to that form.
Nope. Another dude taken down by his vices. I mean, when you're just a young player at Clemson before NIL and you enjoy showing your boner to all the masseuses, nobody says anything. And then you get money, right? And then that $100 turns into $100 million, and you start cracking that boner out anytime someone comes in the room in a towel. And now there's where you're at. I mean, we've covered it already today, right? We're right back there, full circle. It's full circle on this. You know what I mean? All right, guys, really quickly here. Loss of a legend. Pete Rose passes away at the age of 83. Baseball loses a legend. Pete Rose dies at the age of 83. And as Andy put out there in a very hilarious manner, he obviously had the over on 82.5 years. That was an inside bet. He held on and won that one last bet, Andy. That was brilliant when you said that. That was hilarious. Listen, you guys know from talking to me, people that listen to the show know from talking to me, I'm no fan of Pete Rose. I am no fan of Pete Rose. I do not think he belonged in a Hall of Fame. And I've said it, a million times I could go back and pull it and play it again. They're not going to put him in the Hall of Fame until he dies. He may now go in posthumously. Yes.
Yes. And my opinion is he should have been in the Hall of Fame. Right?
Mine as well. I think he should have been in the Hall.
Pro Pete Rose. I've been pro Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame for like 20 years. So like, I think it's crazy, right? I just think it's crazy. Like, I just think it's crazy that Bonds is not in there. I think it's crazy that Clemens isn't in there.
Yeah. The man and what he did on the field. The man and what he did on the field is you got to be able to separate that from gambling.
But you can't separate that from rule breaking. This isn't an art from the artist type of thing, especially with Pete Rose.
Well, then we got to kick Belichick out of the. Then kick Belichick out of the Hall of Fame, right? I
don't know what football's rules are with gambling. Would Belichick do some gambling?
But rules are made to be broken, right? Like Belichick used technology to spy on another team in an age of information. He also deflated the balls supposedly. Like I just think there's, but
That's
what
completely different, Andy.
No, because you're saying
There's not a
you're
rule
saying is
tied to those things
you're
that says
saying
then
rules,
you can
right?
no longer go into the Football Hall of Fame if you deflate footballs. There is a very specific rule. Since the Black Sox of 1919 and Judge Landis took over the league, that is a very specific rule. If you are caught gambling on baseball because of the black eye baseball took with throwing games, you are banned from baseball. And if you are banned from baseball, you are banned from the Hall of Fame. Those are the rules. And listen, him denying it and then admitting to it, and then when the guy comes forward who was placing the bets for him and then informs us that, yeah, he was betting on his own team and to lose sometimes too. Guys, we can't overlook that, right?
I hear you, but listen, once sports got in bed with gambling,
100%.
Oh, now.
Yeah, once sports got in bed with gambling, okay, Pete Rose, you good, man. You suffered long enough.
They're sponsoring teams. Like, what are we doing? You know, like
how crazy is it, Andy, that the first in ballpark legal gambling, I don't know what you call it, kiosk or whatever, opened up at Great America Ballpark in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Right.
When they started the season, they have them in the ballpark. You can gamble on the games. Now, here's where I'll agree with you guys now. He has passed away. Gambling is now in bed with sports. I believe this guy should go into the Hall of Fame now. But you got to set some kind of precedent, especially now with how ingrained gambling is. They had to draw that line and be like, look, it's getting worse. We can't just put Pete in, or it's, you know what I mean? We're cutting our own throat here in choppy waters.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, but 20 years ago, gambling was still moving forward. You know, like Al Michaels used to say very interesting things at the end of Monday Night Football games, right? He'd be like, that matters to some,
right?
Stuff like that,
right?
Like, so, like, I just like, it's always been like, I don't know, it's kind of a double standard. I think baseball, who I think is constantly behind in these sort of things, like
there
are, and like that's what makes, like, that's why baseball has become a regional sport, while other sports are, more not regional, right? Like NFL has certain rules. You cannot gamble in the building. You cannot gamble in your facility. You can't gamble on your team. Like, and the guys that get caught, like Calvin Ridley, let's say Calvin Ridley was awesome and awesome for another 5 years. He got banned 1 year from gambling. Do you think he would not make the Hall of Fame? I think he would make the Hall of Fame, right? I think Tyreek Hill got caught gambling and was spinning for a year, and he came back and had 3 pretty good years. I think he'd make the Hall of Fame.
I think you're right, but I think that's the false equivalency, right? The rule in the NFL is a 1 year suspension. The rule in Major League Baseball is you're out.
Because that commissioner DWMOD was, spiteful, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's the tragedy, is that I mean, anything that somebody does can't really affect them for life, can it? Right. I mean, and I'm saying not on that level. I mean, he didn't hurt anybody.
Right.
Well, that we don't know. It was gambling, right? He could have burned a lot of people. It could have been, but that's neither here nor there. But listen, I don't disagree. I think he'll go in now, but I didn't have a problem with them holding him out to set the precedent, which leads me to my next topic that you guys are going to hate. You guys are going to hate this next one. And we're going to go into it right now on Knock It Off.
All right, everyone. Time to do me a favor and knock it off.
Guys, here's a graphic we're talking about right now. This right here. Learn from the Pete Rose debacle, Major League Baseball, and put these men in the Hall of Fame now. No more games. Everybody on this graphic right here, guys, was busted for breaking the rules with steroids. These were not guys that were speculated. You don't see guys on this list like Ortiz. Ortiz is in the Hall of Fame. Speculated, not proven, right? These guys were all hands down, flat out busted for it. And my problem isn't that they cheated, and I'm not one of those guys. My problem is with whoever put this meme together, guys. Knock it off. Our message now is, listen, if you're good enough, then you shouldn't be held to any standards. Knock it off and put them in the Hall of Fame. It's a stupid take. To me, it's a stupid take.
But put him in the Hall of Fame. Put Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame.
I don't mind with them making him wait. Make him wait. I got to go around.
Make a special wing. Put a special wing, right, in the Hall of Fame.
That's funny.
Like put something that says this is the era that this was happening in.
Right, the steroid era.
Yeah, but put Clemens in the Hall of Fame.
Your asterisk guy.
Do something like that. Get him a little, not a wing, but get him a little room.
Yeah, a little room, just a little room.
Yeah.
These guys did the steroid thing, you know.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with them making them wait. And you got it like it's case by case too, right? Like Palmeiro's in that picture there, right?
Sure.
Now Palmeiro's a guy where I'm like, without the juice, no way. He barely hit the numbers for a Hall of Fame. Without the juice, that's a guy that's no way. Now I do understand everybody's arguing with Barry Bonds. That guy was headed to the Hall of Fame before he started
Anyway,
cheating.
right.
That's right. But my point to that would be the guy that's got $100 million and then gets deep into insider trading and gets 100 million more. Do we just go, well, he was already rich? No, you're in trouble. You fucking cheated. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't have a problem with making these guys wait, but don't wait for these guys to die. I don't think that's right. But make them wait till they're off the list and then make them get put in by a veterans committee. That kind of has a stink on it among other Hall of Famers. It just does. Like, you're not a real Hall of Famer. You got put in by the veterans committee. They do that to him with them. I'm fine with it. What do you guys think about that?
I'm for that.
Sure. I think that baseball, sure. I think the Baseball Hall of Fame is kind of arrogant, personally.
Oh, I hate it.
I agree.
I agree. They act like they're the greatest sports of like they act like they're gods among men. I'm like, like Scotty Rowland got into the Baseball Hall of Fame, and when I was like, what? How?
Yeah.
Did he know something? Like Scotty Rowland on that thing you just showed us is the worst player on that list.
Probably.
Scotty Rowland. And like those guys all should be in, so like they can stop. It's an elitist group, and it's not my favorite group of.
I could not agree with you more. I've said it 100 times on the show. I hate the Baseball Writers of America. You guys think you hold the keys to the Hall of Fame? These guys are a fucking joke. I can't stand them. Lou Whitaker's not in the Hall of Fame, guys. Lou Whitaker is not in the Hall of Fame. His numbers are exactly the same as Joe Morgan's. Joe Morgan's the epitome of second base Hall of Fame. Whitaker has the exact same stats. Look them up. They're off by like 2 home runs, 3 RBI, exact same stats. You know why he's not in the Hall of Fame? Because when he played, he was Jehovah's Witness. He did not stand for the national anthem. He didn't come out to do that thing for religious purposes. And all the writers at that time were like World War II vets, Korean War vets. They didn't like that. And he got blackballed for that. And now it still kind of just stinks that, well, maybe he wasn't good enough. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. I've said it a million times. There's this little, what do they call it? Little formula. What do they call it? That they use these algorithm formulas.
Oh yeah.
That they plug all the stats into. Now there's one they use for the Hall of Fame. I can't remember the name of it. The gold something, whatever. They'll take all the right fielders in the Hall of Fame and they'll apply this formula to it. And that will rank them in order of who was the best. If they apply that formula to Lou Whitaker's numbers, he's like the 6th best second baseman in the history of baseball. He's not in the Hall of Fame. I hate the baseball writers too. I hate them too, guys. Let's move on before I break my fucking microphone. I'm just
all right, everyone. Time to do me a favor and knock it off.
Now, here's one I think you guys are going to enjoy. You're familiar with Bill O'Reilly, yeah? This right-wing asshole who's nothing but one of these fear-mongering, put bullshit out there asshole. I don't know if you've seen his recent video, but let's take a look.
New York Jets fired their coach, Robert Saleh, 45 years old, been with the team since 21. Ordinarily, I don't report this kind of stuff, but Saleh, as you know, I was on the Jets sideline on Sunday in London. That's where I went there to watch them play the Vikings. Big Jet fan, always have been. So Saleh comes out to coach the game, and he's got a Lebanese flag on his person. Okay, see it? And that's pretty controversial right there. And Saleh's not having a good year, and he hasn't really done well with the Jets. So the owner, Woody Johnson, who I had a long conversation with on the sideline on Sunday, and he, thinks that the Jet team is very talented. He's paying a fortune to Aaron Rodgers and the others. He waxes Saleh today. That was not a good move for Saleh to wear that Lebanese flag, because you're then taking sides in this. And
listen, I'm going to let Andy jump on this thing. What do you make of that?
The guy's a moron. What are we doing? Why he wasted like a minute of Grant and I's life right there. When I on my deathbed, I'm going to come back and be like, "You, Mikey Wilson, I had 1 extra minute that you just sucked from my life because you put on Bill O'Reilly." Like I didn't even know that existed till just now, and I was happier 1 minute ago.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you.
He's a moron. Why? We can't. I mean, I want to shut the computer down now. My computer's
just
on
turn
fire.
it off. He's so fucking stupid and putting out such garbage, false propaganda. If he's that tight with the owner in the NFL, he knows that is official this year in the NFL. They're trying to grow the game globally. Any game you put on this weekend, look at the back of guys' helmets. They're all wearing flags from their nationalities. Right? Like I think St. Brown has the German flag on the back. His mother's German. Some other guy saw this weekend. He had the Bahamas on there. There's a Polish player in the league. He's got a Polish flag. Robert Saleh is of Lebanese descent. And according to the NFL requiring these guys to do that this year to grow the game, he's got a Lebanese flag on his shirt. And this asshole says that's why he's fired.
Yeah,
I can't, man. I just can't, man. It's fucking ridiculous.
All right, everyone. Time to do me a favor and knock it off.
Okay, I got one quick one for you guys here I think you're going to enjoy. Now, you know, Andy, how I feel about Coach Brian Kelly at LSU, right? The guy's an asshole. Grant, you're familiar with it. Like he's an asshole. He is an asshole. Like I have a friend who's a coach that runs the coaching association in Michigan and stuff, and they've invited him to come speak at the coaches conventions and stuff like that. I believe one time he freaking no-showed, if I'm remembering right. Another time he showed up, landed his plane, walked on the stage, spoke for like 2 minutes, this check and bounced. I mean, like he's a notorious asshole, and I always feel like his players don't even like him. And here's the proof. Look at this picture here. Okay. There you go, man. Alexander comes back. He gets the game ball. Have you ever seen a picture of another man that did not want his superior touching him more than that?
You're right.
Look at that picture. He's like, hey, man, he gets the game ball. He's like, don't fucking touch me.
Yeah, don't get that on me, man.
He's an asshole. Guys, one more time. Let's take a look at this one more time. This picture here absolutely reeks Boy Scouts of America to me. Alexander did everything to get his patch for the week, and then there's the scoutmaster giving it to him. He's like, yeah, just don't touch me, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
Proof in the pudding is asshole, right?
Problem is LSU's kind of playing good now. They're kind of like they've turned it around a little bit.
They have. He's probably threatening them with no lunch or some shit. He's fucking,
wow.
He's an asshole, man. Just look at. That's the kid's getting the game ball, and he's like, hey man, just don't, you know what I mean? Just don't, you know. I mean, I don't know. All right, this last one here for the knock it off, guys. Now it looks like it's going to be Yankees Dodgers for the World Series, right? Looks like that's the way it's said. I don't know. The Indians last night, though. The Guardians last night. What a game, right? What a finish.
Yeah.
But it's looking like it's going to be the Dodgers and the Yankees. And Andy, you've known on the show, I have said all season long, no chance the Dodgers are winning the World Series because they live and die by their 3 MVPs that are home run bombers, and their pitching's terrible. They are so goddamn lucky. This pitching that's been so terrible, Grant. 2 games ago or last game, they started Buehler. They started a pitcher whose ERA is 10.75.
Yeah.
They're pitching, and then they get into playoffs, and their pitching goes 33 and a half innings without giving up a run, gets red hot.
Yeah.
And then I have another stat here. Okay. Their big 3 players that are MVP, they hold MVP trophies. Ohtani, Betts, and Freddie Freeman. Those guys were collectively 5-40 with no home runs until Ohtani went yard the other night. They're getting no hitting from those guys. So now they got the bums on the team hitting all the home runs. The shitty pitching has come together. They're the luckiest bastards in baseball. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean, that's
really what you
lucky.
need, though, right?
Right.
Isn't that what you need? You got to get hot at the right time.
Right. They're really lucky is MLB. MLB is about to luck into LA versus New York. And that's going to be, I mean, even I was just saying it's a regional sport. I'm like, I may tune in for a couple World Series games. Dodgers, Yankees, it's going to be huge.
I'm a diehard baseball fan. You know that. We talk about it a lot on the show. If it's Dodgers, Yankees, I may not watch a game.
Wow.
That's $2 billion in payroll, and we wonder why they're the best teams in baseball. That's the thing I kind of don't like about baseball, Grant, is they have these salary caps that mean nothing because you can just surpass it and pay the luxury tax. And then the Dodgers go out last offseason. They spent $1 billion on 2 players. 2 players, $1 billion. I don't know, man. I find it personally hard to root for the Dodgers specifically for that reason right now. But also, I can't. They have a really weird celebration. Have you guys seen their celebrations they do when they're scoring runs and hitting home runs?
Where they touch dicks?
The tip touch. Yeah, it's the tip touch. What are they doing, man? Baseball, much like Wu-Tang and the Macho Man Randy Savage, is for the children. What are we doing with this tip touch celebration, man? You know what I mean? I live by it, guys. Look, I live by it. That's Wu-Tang Macho Man mashup.
Wow.
Macho Man cream of the crop, right? But listen, the tip touch, Grant, have you seen that?
I don't even like the name. Again, I'm not gonna get anything more from a video or a picture.
Well, it's inappropriate at best. Dodgers, listen, Dodgers, here you go.
All right, everyone, time to do me a favor and knock it off.
All right, guys, that's going to take us into our next segment really quickly because we got to get to the Big 6 picks. So I'm going to run through this one fast. It is the Warhawk Report. As you guys know, my son is playing football for the ULM Warhawks. Guys, they are 5-1 right now. Okay, they are 5-1 right now for the first time since 1987. They have been to one bowl game ever. In 2012, they went to the Independence Bowl. One win away from going to another bowl game this year. Their only losses to number 1 Texas at Texas. They're playing really good football, and this hot run started when they beat last year the two-time Sun Belt champs at Troy.
To go nowhere.
They knocked Troy right out. Then they moved on. They beat James Madison. They knocked James Madison out of the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoff. They were outside dark horse for the 12-team playoff. James Madison knocked them off. Last week's homecoming, Southern Miss knocked them off. Next week, we're going down to South Alabama. They are in first place in their division in the Sun Belt. So, listen, I'm going to cut it short there, but let's go Warhawks, man. Let's go Warhawks, guys. Tune in and watch next week, South Alabama. It's been a lot of fun.
Hey, all I know is they added a player. His name's Nolan Wilson. And now they're 5-1. That's all I care about.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how it sounds to me too.
Yeah.
Here's a fun fact about the punt team. The punt team number 2 in the nation in pinning people inside the 20-yard line.
Come on.
I believe number 1 in the nation in pinning them inside the 10. That's everything when you're a defensive football team. You're winning games 13-6 and 13-9. Right? Let's go.
Yes,
Let's go Warhawks, man. All right, guys, time to pay a quick bill. Grant, I know you're familiar with what just happened. And Gordon Butterfield, former minor league baseball Hall of Fame announcer, he is on the call for what just happened.
What just happened? What just happened is brought to you by the RustBeltClub.com. What just happened? Young Cody Pembroke feeling rizzy and drippy in that Toyota Prius. Ho, Snake Eyes! Caught him slipping and he lost it all. Oh my, let's see where Window Jack got the jump on Froggy Fresh. It looks like Cody's got some time to kill while he waits on those waves to come in. So he's counting up a boatload of cash. Looks like about $31 bills. Oh, that won't last you 20 minutes in the club, young man. I can see you've got a XXX watch, but you sure don't know what time it is. But at least he's being safe. That seatbelt kept him right in place. What just happened?
Oh, wow. Gordon Butterfield was waiting to burn that guy.
What?
That's hilarious.
Gordon say Rizzy and Rippy?
In that Toyota Prius. He burned him on his car. He burned him. The layers of the burns that Butterfield lays down are so deep, man. Oh, you look really good in that Toyota Prius. I can just see him making Rodney Dangerfield faces the whole time, man.
Sure.
That's
Gordon,
hilarious.
Man. We love him, man. We love him. All right, guys. Well, let's get into the Big 6 picks here. All right, this week, Big 6 picks brought to you like every other week by the official beer choice of DWMOD podcast, Old English 800. Get your brass monkeys, guys. Big 6 games this weekend, guys. Let's start with college football. We'll move right through this. We got number 6 Miami at Louisville. Miami's laying 5 points. The over-under is 59.5. Grant, who you like in this one?
Louisville. Third row game in a row. I'm not buying it. And they haven't looked good the past few weeks. Miami has it. Yeah. So, yeah.
They're squeaking. They're squeaking. Giving you Louisville in a 5. And what do you think on the over-under?
I'm going to go under.
You can take the under on 59.5. Okay. I don't think that's a bad call at all, Andy. I'm going to be on Miami just because it's not quite a touchdown. But I'm telling you right now, I've got some bets where I'm taking Louisville on the money line. I am going to do that. For the sake of this contest, I'm going to take Miami laying the 5, and I'm going to be on the under. Andy, what do you like?
Look, Cristobal was kind of classic Miami team, classic Cristobal team where like everybody first 4 games, like Miami is dominant. They're back. We start seeing, McGahee and Shockey clips and early Miami and like those Cristobal Oregon teams, like eventually they kind of fade. So I'll be on Louisville as well. And I'd be on Louisville money line on that one. And, Louisville, if you just look at their scores, I'm taking the over for sure.
Okay.
That's the way these teams roll. It's going to be, the final score of Louisville's going to beat them like 41-35, 41-40. Louisville in their games this year have scored 62, 63, 50, 55, 61. The last game was the only game under 45. And the final score of that game against Virginia was 24-20. So everything else has been in the high 50s. Miami is going to throw like this. Give me the over and give me Louisville.
All right, we're going to go against that stat we handed out last week about the 60-point scorers, but I feel you. Louisville's big scores, and Miami can do the same thing. All right, let's jump into the next one. This is game of the week. Number 7, Bama, laying 3 points at number 11, Tennessee, and the over/under here is 56.5. Andy, I'll let you jump on this one first.
On this one's Bama, Tennessee.
Yeah, Bama -3.
I love Bama. I'm just I love Bama, and I just think I just think Tennessee's not for real. I don't know what we're doing. Give me Bama and give me the under.
Bama and the under. Okay.
I don't know how you don't. Bama is like it's kind of like they can't throw another one away. I think that Vandy is going to be a good wake up call.
Correct. I'm with you 100% on this one. We have the same exact pick here. Give me Bama all day long. Give me the under in this one all day long. I don't know where they get off having the over at 56.5. Has Tennessee scored a touchdown in 3 weeks? I don't even know. Dunbar, this for you. I'm looking right into the camera. Fucking Tennessee has cost me a lot of money the last 3 weeks. I hope Bama kicks their ass. I'm on Bama big time. Grant, what do you think?
In Tennessee, like 19 or 20 at home, though?
Yeah, something
19,
like that.
Something like that. 19 of the last 20.
Yeah,
man, it's hard to take Alabama in the under, but that's what I'm gonna take.
You're gonna take Bama in the under. It's just look, this team is Tennessee is falling fast, man. They're falling fast. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Also, I mean, listen, I jumped the gun on game of the week. This is probably game of the week. Yeah. Number 5, Georgia, +5. At number 1, Texas. The over/under here is 56.5. Grant, do you think this thing's going to be a 5-point difference?
Man, I'm taking Texas and the over, bruh. Texas may put up 40.
Okay.
They probably will put up 40. I mean, they put up 40 in the last 3, 30 in the last 6. It's going to be hard to stop them boys. And I don't know that. I mean, 5 points is a lot, but like I got to take it. I don't see Georgia doing it.
Texas and the over for Grant. Andy, where are you at?
I agree on the over for sure. I think they're both teams. It's going to resemble Alabama, Georgia for me. I think I love Georgia here. Give me the 5. I would take Georgia at a pick, so I'll take Georgia at a 5. I would take Georgia -2.5. So yeah, I just think. Look, I think Texas is awesome too, but if you're going to put your money down, like, where are you putting your money down? You're going to put it on Kirby or are you going to put it on Sark? And like, for me, there's no way I'm putting it on Sark right now. I can't do it. I don't trust Sark. I don't trust him. So I do trust Kirby though. I do definitely trust Kirby. So give me Georgia +5. Give me the over.
All right, man. All right. I'm going to be with you on this one, man. I'm taking Georgia and the over, and it's because I've seen Texas live. I went and saw Nolan play against Texas. They beat us 51-6 or whatever the score was. But in the first half of that game, it was a 2-score game up almost to halftime. And I'm telling you where the difference was, and it was not up front. I'm telling you, they did not bully ULM. Like, they were down on the goal line, like 1st and goal from the 2 a couple of times, and it took them all 3 tries to get in. You know what I'm saying? So on the defensive side of the ball, I know Texas got a couple of their projecting 1st, 2nd round defensive linemen. That's fine. But where they got over on us was the big play athletes over the top, the 60-yard bombs, the scores like that. They're not doing that to Georgia. Listen, you're not that often. You're not doing that to Georgia. And I think that Texas offensive line is really overrated. I mean, they had a little trouble with us. I like Georgia in this game, especially if you're giving me 5. I'll be playing this teasers all weekend. Give me Georgia and give me the over in this one. Let's jump to the NFL. First game, Lions plus 1.5 at the undefeated Vikings. The over-under here, 50.5. Andy, tell me you're not taking the Vikings, please.
I will say what makes me very nervous about this game is that everyone in the world is on the Detroit Lions. Like, that makes me very nervous because it's like the public dog, and the public had a really good week last week. I think they went like 10-3, 11-3, something like that. And the public is due for a beating. And so I would be concerned, but I'm going to fall into the trap. I'm going to take the Lions. I'm going to take the Lions plus 1.5. I think it's a great teaser. You can tease them with Kansas City coming up. I think that's another good teaser. One of those teasers is going to lose. Somebody's going to cost us in that tease, but I'll take the Lions. I think this game's going to be similar to Vikings Packers in score. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I just think what the Lions can do on offense is good for against this Vikings defense. I think, they're going to be, this Vikings is going to, I think they're going to blitz a lot. I think what's going to happen is like Goff's going to get like some crossing patterns, St. Brown, where he hit Jameson, Laporta may be important. So I just trust the Tigers. I trust the Lions a little more, and I'll take the 1.5 in the over.
All right, Grant, what do you like?
I'm going to go on record and say that I hate this game.
Yeah.
I hate it because I don't like Goff on the road. I absolutely abhor Sam Darnold. But that being said, I'm going to take Minnesota.
Oof. All right.
I just don't. The Lions put everything out on the field last week. I think it's going to be hard for them to. I think they got up for the Cowboys. I think it's going to be hard for them to get as up for Minnesota, and Minnesota is coming off that bye.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm taking Minnesota, and I'll take the over for certain though.
Yeah, the over sounds like a sure bet this weekend in this game. I'll be taking that over on a lot of teases as well, Andy. Tease it down. I mean, give me a teaser in this game. Give me the Lions plus 7.5, probably 8 by game time, and tease the over down to 43. Yeah, I'm going to take that bet all weekend. But, guys, I'm going to take the Lions, and I'm going to take the over as well. I think the Lions are going to win this game outright at halftime. It's going to be tight. And then Hutchinson's going to come out of the tunnel on his crutches, and then it's going to be Lions 100, Vikings 25. I'm on the Lions. I'm on the Lions in the over here, guys.
The other thing to like about the Lions, I think, too, is when you want to bet on the Lions, is Goff indoors, and that's helpful here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Indoors, bad. Goff indoors, good.
Good. Yeah, Goff real good indoors. All right, let's jump to this next game. Texans plus 2.5 at Green Bay. The over-under 47.5. Guys, I'll jump on this one first. I don't think they're giving Texans enough points. I mean, give me Green Bay in this thing, right? I mean, the Texans haven't really played anybody. They've been winning close games. I think they're a good football team. They're going to make the playoffs out of that division, no doubt. But Green Bay winning games with Malik Willis at quarterback. Now Love's back for the last 2 weeks, I think. Now he's really healthy this week. You're at home. You're at Lambeau. If this thing was Texas plus 5.5, I'd be on Green Bay. You know what I mean? I'm taking Green Bay and the over. What do you think, Grant? Oh, that's a way to lead in. There we go. This is your pick of the week. This is your pick of the week right there. Andy, who you like in this one?
If that game was up to 3, I might take the Texans, to be honest with you. I think the problem with the Packers is they're so big play reliant, whether it's on defense or like a 60, 70-yard touchdown.
Hold on. Oh, there you go.
Oh, you're still there, brother.
Yeah. Okay. So I just think they're big play reliant. I also think it's like this is one of those games where the whole world's going to, again, another public side, I think, a little bit. We're all going to take Green Bay. And I'm like, would it shock me if like CJ Stroud went in there? They got Mixon back. It's the whole thing that makes the Texans work is Mixon. And CJ can keep them in it. So if it hits 3, I'll take the Texans. But at 2.5, I'm going to ride with you and the Packers. I'm not super comfortable, but I'm going to do it. And I'm also going to be on the over in that one.
Over as well. All right, Grant, what about you, bud?
Yeah, I think you have to take the Packers. Texans, I love the Texans. I love what they're doing down there. I think C.J. Stroud is that guy.
Real deal.
But with no Nico Collins, I think it's gonna be tough sledding for him.
Yeah.
So yeah, give me Green Bay and the
Green
over.
Bay and the over. Green Bay and the over across the board there. Grant, I don't know if you know, but out in California, we played against C.J. Stroud, Nolan's team I was coaching. He was playing. We played against Stroud in high school. Just as good, man. That kid's phenomenal. He's going to be a star, and he's just a great kid. He's just a nice kid too, man. He's got his head on right. I wish him the best. Let's go for the final game this week. Andy's Kansas City Chiefs are plus 1.5 at the San Francisco 49ers. The over-under here is 46.5. Grant, let's start with you. Who do you like?
Well, I was tossing this game up. If they don't do anything else this year, San Francisco is going to beat the Chiefs in this game Sunday.
All right.
If they don't do anything else. It's going to be somehow the Chiefs are going to keep it close, but give me San Francisco. And I think it's probably going to end up going under.
Under. All right. 49ers in the under. All right. Andy, where are you at?
The tough one because, I got to be honest with you. I kind of like, I always like a small home fave like that. That's kind of a small, like Packers, a good example. Under a field goal. I kind of like it. Here's the thing. Andy Reid's coming off a bye, right? I think he's lost twice in his life off a bye against the spread. One was Tom Brady in Super Bowl. The other was Peyton Manning with the Chiefs. The other was Manning in like some playoff game. So I do like that set. Here's what I think. I think San Francisco is dying to give games away in the fourth quarter. Dying to. And if there is one team you do not want close in the fourth quarter, it's the Chiefs. Because they could easily be 2-3, right? They could be 2-3. That toe with Isaiah Likely, the Bengals pass interference, it was close. There was another. There's one more game that the pass interference against the Falcons, right? Should have been called. Like it's just calls kind of find their way around Kansas City in some way. So also, I think I maybe had texted you this, Mikey, one time, which was like, you literally have to kill the Chiefs. You have to kill them, right? And I sent you a stat I was looking up, Mikey. I was trying to find it where it was like Mahomes has been blown out like 3 times. He's lost by more than 7 points. Like some ridiculous stat.
Like 3 times out of like 100 damn games or something.
Yeah. Right. So look, I generally under a field goal and you're getting them as a dog. I think I probably will lose. I kind of think San Francisco is going to win, but I think as a long-term play, just the best advice I can give you is you're going to take Mahomes in this situation. So I'm going to take Mahomes in this situation. They beat a better San Francisco team literally in February. They just beat them, right? With ultimately kind of the same team. Now, Kansas City doesn't have Pacheco and they don't have Rice and whatever. Like they went to San Francisco 2 years ago and beat them like 44-10. Like, I don't know. I'm just going to take the Chiefs. I'm going to take Mahomes. And I'm going to take, I agree. I think give me the under.
The under, yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm going to agree with you guys 100% on the under. We're across the board there. These are two teams that play defense. The Chiefs, I think another number we gave out a couple of weeks, Andy, on the betting show was that the Chiefs are like, their games have hit the under like 75% of the time over the last 20 games or something like that. They play good defense. Mahomes manages the clock well, long drives. The under, I think, is a lock in this game. Right. And I'm going to take Kansas City. Like, you're right, man. The Niners are banged up beyond belief. They're banged up beyond belief, man. And they're just not full speed. They're just not clicking. They don't have McCaffrey. And I think now we are seeing that whole offense does revolve around McCaffrey. It really does. When he's in the game, it changes the passing game. You're seeing guys like Ayuk on my fantasy team, Grant, who absolutely stink because now they're just bracketing him or they're getting guys on these routes. They don't have to worry about the running back out of the backfield. It's the big problem. You know what I mean? Which, by the way, Harper tried to hit me up for a trade this week. He said, give me Ayuk and I'll give you Cooper. This was before the Cooper trade. He said neither one of them are playing well. I'm like, you try to offer me Watson's receiver for Ayuk? Like that was a fair trade he tried to talk me into. And I should have took it because the next day he wound up with the Bills. And then I said, man, you got lucky I didn't take that trade, man. But anyway, give me Kansas City. Give me the under. And that's it, guys. That's the Big 6 picks. Here's the standings right now as it is through 6 weeks into week 7 in a Big 6 pick challenge. I am in first place at 20-10. -9 on the over-under, though, man, and that's the tiebreaker. So, I'm bad with the over-unders there, guys. The guest pickers are in second place. Grant right now at 18-12, +7 on the over-under. The guest pickers are. That's huge. That's huge.
Man, that's pressure.
Andy sitting in third place after a 5-1 week last week, climbing right back into this thing at 16-14. And even on the over-under. So this thing's heating up quicker than a junkie spoon. We're going to have a lot of fun the rest of the season on the Big 6 picks. Grant, as always, buddy, it's awesome to see you. I don't get to see you laugh with you enough, man. I appreciate you coming on the show. And I'll tell you what, man, be safe. When you head out to work, be safe, brother. We'll see you next time.
Listen, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate y'all. Andy, always good to see you, brother.
Hey, man.
Mike, love you, man.
All right, man. Love you too.
College football is now B1G versus SEC. If you ain't listening to All Right Bet with me and Andy St. Clair, you're throwing away money.
All Lions fans drinking that Kool-Aid. Super Bowl.
Hey, disagree with me or don't. That's how it works.